Wow, was it racism? I thought it was just comedy.
No, we know stereotypes.
It's not really stereotypes. That's how they really are.
Ma.
Yeah, that's real. All right. Um. Like if anybody. There you go. To anybody who may be watching this, this is. We will be playing through inFAMOUS 1 on the PlayStation 3. This system has an update function that fucks your butt. All right, so here's the problem. Now I don't know how long either of them can stay here, but video games may be a cutscene and all that good stuff, right?
Nope.
So I gotta I gotta get through that stuff, and you know, then the tutorial and yada yada yada. But here's the deal: I gotta talk to Jordania. There's a divine beast in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild called Rudania, so that's where that comes from. Oh, so I gotta start the game over for real. It just loaded me into my last save. Oh man. Oh, I don't remember how to play this game. Yo. Alright, starting the game. But yeah, I gotta talk to Jordan about Spiral. Because he called me 2 days ago.
Oh, I kind of wanted to see that. Was it good?
I watched it 3 times in 2 days.
Oh wow!
I also paid $20.
I only wanted to see. What was it on?
DirecTV.
Okay, I only want to see it because Chris Rock and Samuel Jackson are in it.
Oh yeah, they fucking do a fantastic job. Like anybody who some of the critics have tried to pan it at first, but that fucking movie. Okay. You know what? We got opening cutscenes here. This is inFAMOUS for the PS3. I feel like I'm gonna get halfway through this game, and then they're gonna announce inFAMOUS Super Pack Definitive Edition for the PlayStation 4 and 5. And as soon as I get halfway through, and it's gonna be like, fucking. But you know, y'all just give me a minute to let the game do its thing. Cole looking like Deadpool over here.
Oh God.
Because he was burned up and he was, looking like ground beef.
Yeah, is this the game with that guy with the electric arms?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did. I looked up too soon. The game was like, no. You won't let me. Oh man.
I'd love to play those games again.
I have not played this game in a long time.
I don't know why they won't let you. They won't just have it in the Washington.
What the hell's going on? I think there was an explosion.
No shit, there was an explosion. TV says terrorists are blowing stuff up all over the city. Meet me at the Fremont Bridge. We'll get trash and find some place to hunker down.
I'll see you there.
Oh hey, by the way, we have Mario Party now.
Oh, that's great. I'm happy to hear that.
So if you want to play.
Oh yeah. Next time y'all ain't got nothing going on, y'all tell me that y'all trying to play, and I will shave my rabbit, and I'll get right on that. Because I can only imagine your Brill being fucking ragey at Mario Party. That's good content.
Yeah, it really was.
Hmm.
What the
So what happened with the
should be dead.
with the thing the other day? Talking to
You didn't listen to my message, did you?
you.
No, he didn't.
I sent
I
you.
just remembered it.
Yeah, you should go and listen to that message first.
Well, I'm
Why I gotta do that? I'm talking to you right now. Oh wow. The one thing I remember about these games is that Cole will jump and cling to everything, but he just would not cling to that. Whoa!
What's happening to me?
Boy, he is. Oh, wow, the way he is walking is so weird. No! No! Hmm.
It's the terrorists! Run for the bridge, Cole! Come on, move it!
Like, is there another one supposed to be doing this? This is how I'm doing it.
This whole bridge is coming down!
Yeah.
I never understood why the game was written, why the title of the game was written like that. inFAMOUS.
While sliding
You know
into
what?
consciousness, I could somehow,
Me neither.
I don't know, hear the voices of the dying. Thousands crushed by falling buildings or burned alive in the fires. Trish lost her sister, almost lost me. Zeke was there, somehow sure that I'd wake up. Outside, the city fell apart.
Yeah.
Plague struck, followed by rioting.
Spiral. I thought you were gonna go on.
Yeah, you didn't listen because I was saying that I gotta get through the intro of the game first.
Biological threat, the federal government locked down.
Because
Oh, you have to do things during the intro?
Stuck in this
There's a lot of dialogue.
cops are
Oh. Well, no, there was no not listening. There was I didn't know.
against the gangs that
I thought you meant there was a freaking video that was an intro that you were about to let play.
It's playing currently.
scary as hell at first. You gotta understand, there was no one to talk to, no experts to consult. But with time, I'm learning to control it. Master it. Just hope it's not too late.
The one thing I hate about recording videos as of like lately is like mastering the audio and like making sure the audio sounds good. Because I cannot, like, this microphone works just fine. You guys don't hear any wind. I'm almost positive you guys don't hear like the wind being picked up. But the Elgato, when it records,
Are you outside?
why do you hear it?
I thought you were gonna watch TV.
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But like the Elgato picks up a woo.
Sure. Glad it's good for something.
Probably need to charge them all. TV's on.
Did Bender die?
Man.
That is an old joke.
Woo, that's what I'm talking about. Hurry up, we're gonna miss all you. Nice job, man. Boob tubes are working.
Weird. Feels like I got more power.
Yeah? Try frying those dummies over there. With all the nutballs running around, it'd be nice to see how much juice you're packing. Yeah! Lay into it.
Okay, so now obviously if me and him talk about Spiral, like it's gonna result in spoilers. You understand that, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I said I wanted to go and see it. I'm probably not gonna go and see it.
But I mean, it'll be like available to see somewhere eventually.
That's fine. I don't care about spoilers.
Whoa! You see that? Flying so low, thought it was gonna crash into us.
Sneeze.
Hey, it's a TV jacker. I love this guy.
Just got word that the Fed dropped some relief packages into Archer Square. The liars from the corporate media tell us that we're gonna get our fair share, that more is coming. That's easy for them to say. They're not the ones living in this hellhole. And the truth is that we've been abandoned, and no one's coming to save us. So head over to Archer Square and get that food before the Reapers show up. Voice of survival, out.
Told you they drop food.
Man, you must be out of your mind. Think any of those pencil necks gives a crap about us? This is a PR stunt.
That isn't gonna stop you from pigging out, though, is it?
Hell no, it ain't. Saints gotta eat.
You take the stairs. I'm using the express elevator.
Man, get to have all the fun. What are you waiting for?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, that was
Wow,
one
the
hell of a job,
animation
man.
for this
Wish I could do something
is
like that. Running down all the
subpar.
stairs.
Like
Yeah,
the game
some
doesn't
dumb
look
balls.
terrible.
Hey, Cole.
Whoa.
Whoa. Over to Archer. I need to go pick up a new 6-shooter.
Oh, here we go.
Like it doesn't look terrible, but something like it looks.
Electricity in your hands cooks off the gunpowder, and the
Uh,
whole thing goes kabam!
It looked
Look
different.
on your face was priceless.
Damn near blew my hand off.
Which is why you won't be touching the new one. Traded this guy one of my homemade batteries for it.
The ones that explode when you use them.
Hell, he doesn't know that. Come on. Told me he was gonna leave the gun in the parking lot a few blocks from here. Hey, Cole. You know what I miss? Pizza.
Oh, look at them legs go,
Big
boy.
sloppy
God,
slice,
damn.
dripping
God.
grease, pepperoni, and payday. Having a big fat wad of bills in your pocket.
Yeah, I'd settle for some hot water.
Hey, remember that time we were coming home from Duffy's and I had to take a leak? And that bike cop was yelling at me to put up my hands?
You pissed all over him.
Hey, he told me to put up my hands. While he's fumbling around, I jump back in and we take off. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Until we run into a wall of cops.
Like I said, awesome. Bummer we won't be able to do anything like that again.
Yeah, not unless some genius invents a car that doesn't explode when I sit in it.
Man, anybody could have got this gun in the time it took us to run here.
Ah, come on. He told me he was going to leave it under a car. I figured there'd be only one. We'll never find it.
Stand back. I got an idea.
Bro, there's 4 cars out here. 4 cars. You just... whatever, man.
Hellacious! Hell, I didn't know you could do something like that.
Yeah, me neither. There was this surge.
Hey, man, you don't look so hot.
Trained all of a sudden.
We were gonna add watching in one match from each show, these episodes, full cards
See that?
on the live stream. So just to spice it up a little
Recharge
bit.
whenever you fire off a bunch of juice.
Also,
I feel the electricity surging through me. Almost like I'm being healed by
what's
it.
going on, Tyler? It's your boy,
someone takes all the brewskis. Hey, babe.
This the early part of the game. There's a whole lot of talking.
Yeah. Is he heading over there?
How are you feeling?
All right, I guess. Powers are all over the place. Used to be I could barely power a light bulb. Now I'm jumping off the buildings, find the junk on Zeke's roof.
You jumped off a building. What were you thinking?
Relax. I'm fine.
Just take it easy. After what happened to Amy,
Yeah,
see you guys at Archer Square.
Women don't like it when you tell them to relax.
you too.
It makes them do the exact opposite of relaxing.
And if anyone wants to be and you know what they say about them, I'm with me. No, I got to change.
Now I can openly say that at no point after playing the second game did I ever go back and play the first one.
Get stuck up there.
Why? Let me ask you this.
Why?
Why?
You're the only guy here who lives
Why
in a
is
hall like
Vivian?
that. You gotta climb up there and knock that
Why
stuff free.
All right, so I can do that. Or I can't.
Yes, you can.
Oh wow. Oh man, this is I guess this is an early PlayStation 3 game. There's no volume control.
Oh, so is this game just gonna be extra loud?
No, I can control it. I can control the volume of the game. Yeah, I just have to turn down the.
Ugh!
I can control the volume of the game in the editing. Okay, that's much better. Oh my gosh, that's so much better. All right, so Jay. Now we can talk about this gall darn movie. Ooh, hello. I am curious.
First, wait. I have a question first.
Go ahead.
So is this a spin-off?
No.
No?
It is a sequel.
Too late.
It's a sequel, okay.
In theory, I would call it a sequel because it is set in the same universe as Saw. Like it is, the term from the Book of Saw refers to somebody who uses John Kramer's, aka Jigsaw's, mentality and like ideals for the game to create his own game. Like the idea of like in his head, the spiral refers to
If I go all out, they have to
Civil War. Sorry, like the spiral refers to like growth and evolution.
almost in the rise. When I said all out, I already go all out.
So yeah, again, like we'll get to what it's all about like here sooner or later. Is there any other questions you'd like to ask, like before we get into it? Man, I thought that was a tactical civilian because I didn't check the mini map.
Swerve, go next, and then go first. So we'll go Liv and Ruby and the ladies.
Okay, yeah, he
Commissioner.
Those freaks are brutal.
We'll give him a hot 20. Go Liv and Ruby. And again, like I said before last week, so kind of been busy.
no. There is no there are no control options, anything like that.
Swerve.
Like no sound options, no control options. That's it. I can play the game. So no more questions. I take it, Jabril.
Maybe longer.
No.
Okay.
A couple people in the crowd.
I was curious with Jordan. I was curious as to because you remember Jabril, you asked me like what to me makes a good like thriller movie, and I said and I said I'm going for the good for the hero run, just because it makes me feel less like shit. And I said like a good mystery movie has to have a good mystery that the audience can solve.
Hey, Trish.
And I was curious with Jay because I was live tweeting him. I wasn't tweet, but I was more or less giving Jay the play-by-play as I watched it. And I did figure out who the killer was before the end of the movie. And I was curious if he did as well.
I think that works.
Say what?
I did not.
You didn't? Okay. Like you saw who my first guess was. And like I'm pretty sure the movie was like going out of its way to try to make you think that. And they did a really good job because I totally felt like I took the bait. And I super thought it was going to be him, and it wasn't. Like I will give like a spoiler heads up warning when like we start talking about like the true details of the film.
This takes a lot.
Did you have? I guess this is the first one. Did you have a favorite track? Because there weren't many. There were 5.
Not really. They were all pretty lackluster.
You thought so? You thought they were lackluster? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were lackluster. I thought when it came to like
I wish there were like 3 more days.
There's always the concept of having to. There's always the issue with giving the person in the trap, making it be their test, or making it be somebody else's test. And like, oh fuck! Oh fuck!
Those traps, man, it was pretty. Well, for
What?
one, we're gonna get to the spoilers, and they're gonna start now. It was Amanda all over again. It was a bunch of unwinnable traps that were just kind of really pointless.
Here's the deal. I didn't necessarily.
He was killing cops. Is what he was doing. He was killing cops.
Yeah, like that was the objective. Like that was the objective.
Because anybody with common sense would know that the trap that I'm finna talk about just did not make sense. There was absolutely no point to it. Especially the missus, because she's an assistant to a spinal surgeon, so you know where I'm going with this. The female captain,
Yeah.
it's either take this hot load to the face or split your spinal column to where you're paralyzed. You have no idea. That could very much kill her.
And yeah, that was the one I had the most issue with, because I was like, if she slightly moves, if she moves the wrong direction, like even though you have her like pinned down, if she even slightly moves the wrong way, like that's a wrap. Like, but then again, he didn't care. And yeah, like the idea of like the idea of a good saw trap is that you are supposed to have a way to get out of it. Like if you can't get out, if you can't win the game, what was the point of the game?
There was not, the time wasn't long enough. It was bad. It was like Amanda all over again. It was just
But that's the
stuff
thing.
thrown together.
That's
like,
kind of, but it being like that makes it, you know, on par, because so many of her traps and Hoffman's traps were not winnable.
But
like,
and even still, they were creative. It was like a fan who wasn't really a big fan, but was a fan enough made these traps. Like homeboy getting his fingers ripped off or risk getting electrocuted. There was like no time for that. And then none of the kills had any build up to them like the previous salt blow. The previous before the last one did. You know, when people got snatched up in a trap, it was like this person gone. This person snatched up, trap.
Hold on.
Next person snatched up, trap, dead. And it's like.
Let me clarify one thing real quick. In most of Jigsaw's original traps, you had about 60 seconds to make a decision. That's all he gave. So the idea of like there not being enough time, well, that's par for the course. Because in like a lot of the early movies, I felt like because he wasn't giving you the opportunity to think about what you were doing, which might have been the point. And it's what I didn't like. Like I didn't like it from the standpoint of like if I was in that situation. He didn't give you an opportunity to question what you were doing, like at all. You didn't have an opportunity to ask yourself, can I deal with this? Can I make this choice? Nah, it's like 60 seconds, live or die, go.
Matter of fact, hold on, and then there was still a nice little minute or two before the time actually started.
Yeah.
So you had time to think why you were here, what you were doing here, and how can I get myself out of this.
You had time to realize why you were there.
Exactly.
You had time, but you didn't have an opportunity to like come to grips with what you were about to have to do. Like that's how I always saw it. I bit my tongue. So like, but the one thing that you could say all of Jigsaw's traps ever had in common with the ones in this movie, as I looked at them, I was like, no matter if they escaped, they wouldn't have escaped. They would have died because the dude literally would have had his tongue ripped out of his mouth. The dude would have had all 10 fingers pulled off of his body.
Hold on. Wait. Again, that first one, that's just excessive. It wasn't good. Rip your tongue out and get hit by this train. Who the fuck wouldn't rip their tongue out? Like seriously.
To be fair though,
they weren't necessarily well
once he decided.
His homeboy for damn sure got splattered all on that shit.
Because he had like the plus side to that was he didn't have an opportunity to like second guess it. The moment he was like, okay, I'm gonna try, like that was it. He was gonna be out. He was gonna be done because like his body weight was enough to snatch the tongue out of his mouth. Now I would like to argue again, like a good chunk of the traps in the Saw movies aren't great as far as like winnable. But the thing I wanted to point out with these were they were all gonna bleed out no matter what. Every single one. They were all gonna bleed out. Like pulling, like getting his tongue ripped out. Yeah, he was gonna bleed out. The finger thing. It didn't matter what he did. He was gonna bleed out. Like he was gonna be dead. Like the chick with the with the neck. Yeah, she was gonna bleed out. Like nobody had the opportunity to survive. Nobody. And that was kind of the point, but that goes against the original ideas. And you can say it goes against the John's idea, but it follows in line with the films because as they go on, some of the traps were never meant to be escapable, and it's just like revenge murder at this point. And again, I enjoyed the mystery, and it really kind of did feel like they were banking on the whole it took me like my third time watching the movie to check to peep the theme, that it was like, oh, okay, like corrupt cops killing. Okay, I get it. It was like around the time that they started talking about that movie, that was talking about like putting this movie together, that was really relevant. So I feel like, okay, maybe that was the point of this. It was like just the idea of like getting tired.
Simulating it up. First match, prove yourself, Steel Cage.
He does a decent job of being completely serious, but some of his moments were hilarious. It just because they were, it's just, I couldn't fully take it seriously. Like, I took his seriousness serious, but it's when he was too serious when it became funny.
Yeah, him screaming like had like
yeah,
like
it was when he was in the car. I was like, all right, Chris, calm down.
But then again, I don't think people act like that in general, so it didn't matter who did it. Like anybody doing that, I've been like, people don't do this. It's kind of like it's kind of like when you're watching like an action movie or a horror flick, and the girlfriend and the boyfriend are like, okay, like if anything happens, like I just want you to know I love you, and then they like bitch, we about to die. Like we ain't got time for this shit. Come on. Like it's a whole like the thing we standing on is collapsing into the sea. Like stop this. What the fuck is wrong with you? Forgot what the fuck I was watching. Where they were doing that shit, and I was just like, this is dumb. But you know, it's a movie. I can shut up.
Y'all done?
Nope.
Nah. Damn.
And
I didn't like
yeah.
I didn't like the police chief at all. Like when I say I didn't like her, I don't mean like her. Like I meant the actress, like the chick who played her. Like they gave her some of the wackest lines in the whole movie. Like she had that S tier cringe. Like when they talk about, you know, his like in the early part of the movie, just because your dad is fucking Marcus Banks, it's like, who the fuck talks like that? Like who talks like that? Like first off, to say his dad's whole name is weird. But had you just simply said, just because your dad was the chief doesn't give you the right to do whatever you want, like we would have understood. Like the audience would have got it. But to say his name like that, nigga, if you had said something like, just because your dad is like Clark fucking Kent, like, oh shit, his dad's Superman, I ain't know that shit. But like I don't know who the fuck Marcus Banks is. Like as the audience member, I am completely in the dark here. I don't have grenades. There we go. God damn. Oh, that's what's up. Oh, so I can just shoot them. Okay. I'm just. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. That's how a motherfucker gets shot to death. Right there. Running out into a Gatling gun. What the hell wrong with me?
Yeah. The traps over the course of, you know, like past like from 4 on down. Well, 5 was cool, but you know, 5 was pretty slick, but the traps just kind of got lesser and lesser.
Hold on, I want to say something real quick, and this is not about this movie, but in the last one, when John leaves that, like the improved bear trap for Hoffman. Assuming you remember what you remember that. Of course you do. Not the last movie, second to last movie. The whole point. Well, not the whole point. I'm sorry. Like she was given that mission if he did something specific. But John purposely still gave him an opportunity to get out. And then he had Gordon like as a failsafe in case he did survive the trap and then went after Jill Tuck. I don't know why I called her Jill Tuck. Went after Jill. So why did you give him the opportunity to get out then? Like if you thought that it was possible he would go after your wife and kill her, why did you make it so he could get out? Like the idea of like, well, people like this is his opportunity to learn. I respect that you have like a method to your madness, but my guy, my boy, this dude's batshit crazy. You already knew that. You already knew Hoffman was not out here to teach nobody any lessons. Hoffman was just out here to like kill motherfuckers that he thought didn't deserve to live. So what made you think he wasn't gonna just kill Jill out the gate when she slapped that damn trap on him? Like he was gonna kill her. You knew he was gonna try to kill her. So like the idea of like all of John's traps giving people the opportunity, like giving people the chance to live, like I don't know if they all work. I mean they work, but it's weird. Weird to me anyway, because some people just were never gonna get right, and he knew that.
There's that. But you had the opportunity to get right.
And she ain't take it. Because, I mean, the same thing happened with Amanda. And also, let's just be real. Every single one of John's apprentices were all dumb as hell. Amanda just completely ignored the fact that even though she was technically out of, like, even though, like, well, how would you put it? Like, she thought that, you know, that she had like survived her first test, blah 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 blah. But John still found out that she was like that she had started cutting or whatever. She just completely ignored the fact that, like, yeah, like he's keeping tabs on me. He knows everything I'm up to. And so for her to be like, yo, I'm finna kill this doctor bitch. And he tells her like, she's more important than you know. Like, at no point did Amanda think to herself, okay, well, this might mean some shit. Like, maybe I should actually not kill this motherfucker. Because John's being cryptic again. Maybe I should actually slow my fucking roll. But nah. She ain't do none of that shit. Like, she sat there and did stupid stuff. What the fuck is wrong with you? And then fucking Hoffman. Like, I just found it really interesting that, like not to, like, get off topic. But I found it really interesting that, like, all the people John picked were too dumb to realize how far ahead he was as far as, you know, peeping game, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And they all got themselves fucked up. But yeah, the idea of like the traps not giving you a chance to get out, like get free, like it does kind of like destroy the premise of the film. I thought it was done. It kind of destroys the premise of the film, but once you realize that this dude doesn't have any desire to let people change, and it's all about like revenge, like, yeah, the traps have no purpose. The traps don't have a purpose. It's just about killing people. So like the traps, if they can't get out, if they don't get to learn a lesson, there's no point. It's just you watching people get murdered for an hour and a half. Like that's it. Like best case scenario, you get a halfway decent detective movie where you get to figure out who the fuck is out here killing folks. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I still like this movie like a great deal. Like I liked the creativity he had when it came to like dealing with like creating the stuff he was creating. Like I thought he was halfway decent. You know, in spite of what I just said. Like I still thought it was halfway decent.
Yeah, I got it.
I do wish that he saw John's vision a little bit better. I do wish he understood that it was about rehabilitation and giving people the opportunity to learn. Because in theory, he tried to make it seem like everybody could get out.
No, he was just a copycat killer.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Who wasn't really a good copycat.
Because he tried to say, like, what do you... Because he told the first dude, like, you won't be able to speak. Like, from here on, like, you won't be able to talk, but yada, yada, yada. And then he told the second dude, like, you won't have use of your fingers, but you'll be alive. He told Angie, like, you won't be able to walk. Like, it's like, all right, man, like...
Let's head home. I'll fill you in on the way.
And not to mention, wax don't have to get that hot to melt.
No.
Like, but, you know, we're ignoring a good chunk of that.
And it drains neuroelectric energy.
Oh, I knew it!
Yeah, the movie moved pretty quick.
Oh, yeah, it's an hour and a half. Most horror movies ain't that long.
It moved pretty quick.
Calm
Too
down.
quick,
You're gonna hurt
honestly.
yourself.
That ray sphere must dish out power.
I think they was
Like
banking on the idea that you already understood the premise of the film,
Sure.
so they didn't have to set anything up.
It's a brand new story. You gotta set everything up.
His own man.
Your middle name is Jedediah.
I mean, shit. I mean, yeah, there's been 1,000 Halloween movies. There's been 1,000 Texas Chainsaw movies, but nigga, when you killing new people, you gotta set the story
Take
up.
a nap and a bath.
When there's
Especially
new
with a
players
brand new
involved
killer.
here. Yeah, for real. Like you gotta come on now. You gotta set this stuff up right.
Because, I mean,
But yeah, everything just kind of went by. Movie over. Like shit.
because the idea, like, what was it? Like, you don't know that John is the killer to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really, you don't. Yeah, you don't know John is the killer to begin with. I mean, yeah, in the first movie. So, I would argue that maybe they didn't have to reveal who the killer was in this movie. They could have, you know, I don't know. They could have did, okay, in the Saw video game, I think it's the first one. Like the killer, like you see the killer toward the end of the game, but what ends up happening is the killer just kind of, like they're in like the cloak and hood, and they just kind of walk away, like they get into like a, what you call them joints, the elevator, the service elevator, the freight elevator, and just kind of like it goes down, and you don't get the opportunity to like see who they are. And I felt like he could have done the exact same thing. Like he could have put him in the thing with in the room with his dad, let the tape play, and then like as he's figuring it out, like he looks over, sees like a person in the pig mask, yada yada yada. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, probably. And another
Because
problem
there's no
is
real reason for a second movie now.
no, there isn't, because he's got his revenge. He doesn't have to do this anymore.
I mean, that's the thing. No, he said that he wasn't done.
I mean, what else are you gonna do? You gonna? I don't want another movie with your shitty ass traps, and your dumb ass way of doing things. No, that's gonna be another hour and a half of wasted time. Please don't come back on that same tip. Please tell me somebody from the past that we've forgotten about is gonna be like, here, let me show you how to do this the right way, and and take over. Cause good gosh, man, I do not want another movie
I'm picking up some weird
with you.
I
and
would like a
we're
true
gonna-
return to form, but I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't like this movie. I really enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed Chris Rock's performance. Like, he did a really good job in my opinion. Like,
Yeah, it's
when they let
it's-
him be Chris Rock for like 5 minutes, like, well, for like a few minutes in the very early start of the film, when they
Yeah.
were going to the first, and he basically did stand up.
Yep.
Yeah, that
Yep.
was it was really good. It felt natural. It felt like who you expect, it was like what you expect out of Chris Rock. Like, it felt really, really good. The only times it felt weird was when he was trying to be aggressive. Because I think overall, like, I think most of us see Chris Rock as like a little too cool for that. Like, to be that kind of mad. And like, he's done shit like that in other movies. Like I think in New Jack City, I think you get a small taste of that, but even then he looked funny when he's doing it there. Cole, get down. Fuck. So here's where we just talk about the end of the movie, because this video is gonna be long as shit. But yeah, here's where we talk about the end of the movie. So as the movie went on, I genuinely thought, like, I think toward the middle of the movie, I thought that the killer was Zeke's dad, played by Samuel L. Jackson. I thought it was his dad. They set it up perfectly to make you think it would be his dad. Like, the dad, like, he goes missing. He has motive. Because I thought it was him because they keep doing these flashbacks to show us what it was like when Zeke first joined the force.
Mm-hmm.
And he was getting just the biz nasty. Like, nobody liked him. Like, he was considered a snitch. All this shit. And like, oh yeah, that scene where he was like, after he got shot, and like his dad was like, "You see this gun?" He's like,
Found it. Looks like
"Oh, I did not know this is what I was supposed to be doing. I just saw a blue dot and I went for it." And he was like, "You see this gun?" It was like, when I find out, yada yada yada, I'm gonna blow his motherfucking head off. And when I'm gonna figure out who was closest and who just ignored him. And when dudes started to walk off, pistol whipped him. Like, so I was like, okay, so yeah, you clearly ain't with the shit. But on top of all of that, why the fuck? And I mean, like, why the fuck? Or if all of these cops are like trash cops, why y'all still on the force?
Because the whole look at the world around you.
Yeah, I get it. It's like, but then again, you find out, like, oh, okay. At the end of the flick, you find out that that his dad and Angie were both like perpetuating the shit that was going on. The streets were dirty, and the cops needed to do some dirty shit to get the streets clean. And I didn't necessarily think it made sense. Like, it just didn't. Like, you're gonna spend all this time mad at these cops. Ooh, hello. Man, I forgot how often you got shot at in this game. Damn.
As we're talking about the ending, I gave the ending a standing ovation.
Because of the tell me why. Like, I can either I can either guess why. You can just tell me why.
Oh, you can guess why.
Oh, I thought it was because of the fucking
You hear that?
the foreshadowing.
Same thing as before.
I'm running the signals through a decryption.
The foreshadowing?
Like,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
is it, because the whole thing with the marionette, like I thought that was fucking. Because a part of me, I figured, dude, like, because he said like he had been dreaming of this since he was 12. So that like, he said, but we met when I was 11. So I'm thinking, okay, so dude has been thinking about this, but like even after his dad got killed, this wasn't his first thought. So I'm like, okay, so I'm guessing somewhere in between 11 and 12, like the Jigsaw murders like start popping off. And that's when he, you know, starts getting the inspiration to do the shit. And I'm like, okay, so what, did you see the pig mask and you just immediately thought cops? And you was like, yeah, that, like, that'll be perfect. And then like once John had like died or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't care for the hog mask in this. It wasn't as creepy as the one John previously had that he gave to Amanda.
No, like I think they tried. They tried to make it eerie, but like again, the issue with
That's the last one.
the Billy puppet was not supposed to be this thing that John created to menace people with. Like that was supposed to be something for their kids before it got murdered. And like this dude like using the marionette, like again, it's just like kind of proof that you don't really know what the fuck, like you don't know shit about shit. You're literally just a copycat. You're just somebody who got a hard on for the way this dude was murdering people, and you're holding a grudge against the wrong guy, to be completely honest.
I don't believe it. That's John. He must have used 10
Because you're like, I didn't get it. Like, you did all this to Zeke. Like, for what? Like, what was your reasoning? Like, he didn't have shit to do with shit. Like, he was just the, you know, the dude's partner. He didn't stand by it. Hell, even when
Just making sure.
even when like the dude was like, he pulled the gun on me. He's like, the witness pulled the gun on you? And I was like, yeah, I get, like, for those who ain't really like, putting together what we laying down, the killer in this movie is garbage. His motive is trash. His traps are not, like, it's not fun exclusively just to watch these people get killed. It really is more interesting to see them get an opportunity to live. Like with the black chick, when it was like her and the fat dude, like, and you had to offer up a pound of flesh or whatever, and whoever could give the most flesh would survive. Yeah, it's the idea of living through one of John's traps that fuck people up. Like, in his head, they would get a new appreciation for life. But that's not what happened. Not every time, anyway. Like, Gordon did. Like, Gordon appreciated John's, like, gift, I guess you call it. But not everybody was like, yeah, like, he showed me the way. He showed me the way. Like, that ain't what always happens. And so, like, being able to actually go back and find somebody who survived, like, a game and, like, actually use them as,
Don't know how long I extracted that chip.
use them as, like, what you want to call it, evidence, like, to get information, you know, makes a lot more sense. But, like, this dude did not plan to, he didn't plan for none of that. Like, there was no learning anything. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling. With the restaurant for mandolins, violins. Why did you give it a standing ovation? Was it because it was over?
Nah. Because of the way the ending went, the last trap, the way that went is how the traps before the final one should have went. They should have been that good, and then the final one should have been better than that. So I was glad that they, got one right that I actually approved of.
That you approved
I mean,
of.
but even still, I still found a problem with it because when Samuel started to raise his pistol, it moved so slow. Everybody saw him raising it. He wasn't necessarily just doing this on his own.
Hold on.
You shot him anyway, and I'm just kind of like,
fuck that. He was hanging from the fucking ceiling.
Right, like nobody.
Like, nigga, he was not a threat.
This Dr. Robotnik suit that he's in, and then all of a sudden he's RoboCop and starting to point the gun at the. It would be different if they had came in through the door. He had rose up pretty quickly, and then the arm came up really quickly, and then maybe shot one of them. Then they fired because they don't know what's going on. They're getting shot at now. We gotta stop this, within some sort of rapid succession. But no, it took forever. Like, even when it being drawn out, it was still like, oh man, I know what's gonna happen next, which was fine. But it went so long. Everybody saw him raising the gun, and
for those wondering, like earlier in the film, instead of the Billy puppet, the killer he often uses a pig marionette, and in one scene of the movie, like the pig marionette like lifts a gun, and that's what am I doing? Oh, I'm done. I can just go to the next mission. All right, well, I'm gonna pause here and then I'll finish this and then we'll end this hour-long episode. It's in one scene where he talks about someone's pulling all the strings, and it's just a little pig, and he's clearly like a sheriff or a chief, and like he raises his like revolver. In the final scene of the film, when Chris Rock, Zeke finds it's taken to his dad, because at this point the killer has exposed himself, not in that way, to him, and he's like, "Where's my father?" He tells him, "I want you to team up with me. I want you to figure out who the corrupt cops are and then leave the rest to me." He's like, "So you want me to help you kill cops?" "No, I just want just the bad ones." I was like, which wasn't the answer to the question. Wasn't no. He was like, "Yes, but." So he takes him to where his dad is. His dad is strung up by these cables. He's like suspended in the air. He's got like braces on his arms and legs that's holding him up in the air. He has like multiple like IVs inserted across his body, and they're all like leading down to these jars. He tells him there's 1.5 liters of blood, or 1.5 gallons of blood in the human body, and at this rate, by the time the cops get here, because the cops are coming, like, it'll be too late to save him. You have one bullet left in the gun. You can kill me, but then you won't be able to kill your dad, or you can shoot the target above his head, and that'll release him, allowing him to go free. But you'll have basically you're gonna have to be my partner in like this cop killing bonanza. And so he accepts okay, I gotta shoot my dad down. He does that. He's, instead of just accepting that it's probably a good idea that I at least let him think I'm on his side, he then like his dad tells him he's getting away, go after him, I'm fine. So he goes and he fights him. The cops get to the room that they're in, or were in, where Samuel still is, and they start cutting through the door with like a giant circular saw. In that, they cut a cable on the other side of the door that triggers a mechanism that starts lifting Samuel back up into the air where he was before. And so now he is starting to, he already was before, but he again is now taking the form of a marionette. Once all the cops get into the room, the SWAT team gets into the fucking room. There, and it's like dark-ish. It's not dark. What happens is these spotlights come on and they shine on him, and it like creates a silhouette, so they can't see him. They just see his shape. He's still in the air. He's off the fucking ground. Like, y'all know how tall Samuel L. Jackson is. He's not like a short dude. So he's like 8 feet in the fucking air. And then, like I don't think it's a real double barrel shotgun. I think it's just the barrels of a double barrel shotgun, like, come out of his arm like some blood rain shit. And the cable makes his arm lift up and aim at the police. And they see this, and they're just like, fire! Which, again, stupid as shit. Like, I feel like it was supposed to be like social commentary on like the police force willingness to kill a black man, even if yada yada yada. I'm assuming that's what it had to be, because outside of that, it was just dumb, because they saw him before the lights came on. So they saw that he was like rising into the air. And
slowly, mind you.
Yes.
Slowly.
Yeah, because it wasn't like zoop.
Very slowly.
Yeah, he was being hoisted slowly into the air. Like, long enough for him to be like, what the fuck is going on? Like, Ezekiel is in the room, and he's like, stop. When he runs into the room, before they shoot him, he puts his arms behind his head, and he gets on his knees, and he's trying to tell them to stop. They aren't listening. Then the gun comes up, and they just light his ass up. It ain't like a tap, 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 or nothing like that, or like a drop your weapon, or anything like that, or even does anybody move, because he can't move. He can't turn. It's all like preset animation. He's in animation. He can't move. So had they literally just cleared a space, like, one, if the gun had went off, nothing would have happened. But I'm almost positive there was no gun to go off, because the barrel was just kind of like loaded into this like mechanism on his arm. So there was nothing to explode, I don't think. But even if it had they just moved, it was a fucking SWAT team. They weren't gonna die.
Right.
Even with like a shotgun, they weren't gonna die. But everybody just dumped off in his ass. Yeah, dumped off in his ass. And it was so unnecessary. Like, it was incredibly unnecessary. And then the killer gets away. And again, it's only weird because, like, one, you got the cop, you have a cop. Like, I'm assuming they don't know who he is. Some fucking how they don't know who he is. So they see him. He's trying to tell them, like, the dude is, like, in the elevator. The dude, like, he gets away. Like, it is what it is. He fucking gets away. And then his dad dies. Like, and I'm pretty sure that was the plan all along. The plan was most likely, if you don't chase me, your dad lives. Now, this, again, is 100% like old school John. You have one plan. You have one opportunity to get away and be free. Because as a matter of fact, this is how his first trap ever went, when he got the guy who killed their baby. The dude who had to like push his face through the knives to break the chair.
Mm-hmm.
And John gave him the opportunity, like, just let it go, walk away. And he didn't. And John sidestepped him, and he fell into the razor wire. So, like, the idea of that, like, good trap. Really, really good trap. But ultimately, I really like the glass bottle trap as well. There was no winning that, by the way. Like, there wasn't. He had one shot. Like, it wasn't like it would, like, come on for, like, a few seconds and cut off. Like, the first time it was like this conveyor belt of glass bottles falling into, like, a bladed, rotating blade.
I forgot about that one. That one, I felt that one was on par with 4 and 5.
Yeah, because there was no winning. Like, not.
Oh no, that was winning. He could have done that. He just took too long.
Yeah, had he figured out like the clue to where the key was, he would have gotten out. He would have gotten him out of there, I think. Because even still, like, he would have had to like get his hands undone. And like, just the amount of time it took to get that all put, like, just it was a good trap. Like that one fucked me up. It was like because it was one of those traps where to save the dude, you have to hurt yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was like he tried to block some of the glass, but he couldn't work the lock with one hand. So the glass is falling into this like blade, and then the shards are falling in front of this very powerful fan that's just blowing glass at like the victim.
Yeah, I don't understand why he didn't just kind of put the trash on top of on top of his head, so he wouldn't get glass shoved in his skull. But
He used it to try to block his face so he could still see, I guess. Like still see the lock.
I mean, it's a lock. I mean,
there's only
key.
There's only two ways to
put it in the hole.
If it don't fit, it's upside down. Turn it over.
Right.
But the second time the second time the fan kicked in, that the mechanism kicked in, yeah, it was too late because it ran like the first time it ran for like maybe 5 seconds, and then the second time it just went like it shredded the back up. Like he had
because
out of that.
the bottles just kept coming.
Yeah. And then Zeke had a big shard of glass stuck in his arm that he pulled out. And I was like, I know you're not a like a EMT or nothing like that, but you gotta know to not pull like a fucking piece of shrapnel.
Blades out. Yeah.
Like the glass was keeping blood from oozing out of your dumb head, your arm. I mean, idiot. Oh yeah, and like just to go into detail about all the traps. The hot wax thing, it was a table with a wax boiler and a spout over this lady's face, and she had like a cloth over her face. The objective was that it would suffocate her. Which it wasn't like it mattered if it suffocated or not. It was gonna cook her face. And to stop it, she would have to push her neck against this blade, and it would sever her spinal column. It would sever her spine in a way that would not allow her to be able to walk again. But like that one, I was like, there was too much. There was the margin for error on that one was so fucking huge. It was ridiculous. And then there's the one where like the dude he's in a tub of water, and the water is rising toward these live copper wires, and he has to bite down on this thing to like complete a circuit that will engage these gears that will pull these things attached to his fingers that will pull his fingers off. Now, the thing that made me giggle about this one was like if he didn't make it and like he got electrocuted, his fingers were coming off anyway because the electricity was going to make his muscles clench, and he was just going to bite down and activate the damn gears, and they was going to pull his fingers off anyway. Again, like there was no getting out of these. Like he had to like get his hands free to get out of the tub. And even if he found a way to like not be in the tub when it hit the wire, he still was stuck. And like there would be no real way of getting out. And then the whole thing about like being in front of the oncoming train, and you're being supported like he's standing on like a crate or like a stepladder, and his tongue is bolted to this thing, and the only way to get free would be to fall, like jump off the thing, and the weight of his body would snatch his tongue out, and it would let him go free. And again, he would have bled to death long before he got to any kind of help. Like long before he got to any help. And that's assuming he didn't just pass out from the pain. Like, and then bleed the fuck out. Like, same with like the dude with the fingers. Like, he was gonna bleed to death. It's just like, because I had this conversation with Jamal like not too long ago about like I didn't understand why people died when they got scalped by Native Americans, and he was like, because they bleed to death. And like that never really crossed my mind. And in one of the other songs, like it's in the one with the black dude. I think that's 4. And like the chick,
you're talking about the actual officer.
Yeah, and the chick is in the apartment, like his apartment, I think, and like it's like pulling her ponytail, and it's
Yeah.
slowly snatching her scalp off. Yeah, she like she's like she almost got out of that. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think she lived, but like yeah, she would have bled to death. Like even if like no, just no. But you say you didn't figure out who the killer was. The message I sent you, like I figured out it was the rookie partner before they revealed it, because they're like the rookie partner just suddenly died. Like supposedly he was just suddenly dead, but he didn't have a game. Just they killed him. That was it. Like oh shit, he dead. But there was no like the game. Like the movie didn't even like set it up to where it looked like he might have been in a game, but we couldn't tell it was him or anything like that. Like nah, just he was suddenly dead. And that's when I figured out, oh, it's got to be him. And then after the third time I watched it, I was like, how the fuck did nobody question where the fuck he was when these killings started happening? Because every time a victim like got taken, he was nowhere to be found. Like when Angie got took, well, when Angie got put in the trap, he was nowhere to be found. Like, well, I mean, I guess, okay, well, never mind, that makes sense. Because toward the end of the movie, he was supposedly dead, so they didn't need to know where he was. And like when I told you, I love the way the movie was shot. Like they didn't go out of their way to show you his tattoo, but there's a shot in the car that shows him reaching into the visor, and you can clearly see his tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't make a thing out of it, like at all. They don't make a thing out of it. And then toward the end of the movie, before Zeke gets taken, as he's walking into the church, like on the right side of the screen, you see him standing in the background with the pig mask. Like with the pig mask on and the robe on. Like he's right there. And again, the movie doesn't, it's clearly there, but the movie does not like focus on that. Like he's only in focus for like a few seconds. And then once Zeke passes, he's like in the background. So he's almost completely blurred out. And then like when the camera pans back around, he's gone. Like I liked that. Like I liked that so much. I just thought that was like a nice touch as to like, if you're paying attention to the film, you'll totally see what's happening. But we're not going to go out of our way to be like, no musical sting, no like weird camera, we're not going to look at it. It's right there. Like, no, just if you're looking at it, you'll see it. And like the last thing I want to ask is, what did you think about the 21 Savage song that they had made for the movie? I know you heard it. I done heard it 3 times now.
I heard it.
Like, what did you think about it?
It's just as whack as his Mortal Kombat 11 theme song.
Nah, okay. You didn't care for it? I'm gonna make it spin like a spiral. Like,
Are you done? Are you done talking about Spider-Man?
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're talking about almost. We're almost there.
I don't understand who the hell keeps finding him work to make themes to things.
Oh, you didn't notice that like
good.
all the music in the movie was current like hip hop R&B.
Oh yeah, I know it was too much. It was too much. Nobody asked for that shit. It was too much. When Chris Rock was walking to the car and they started playing another
Down
hit
Bad?
record, and I was like, okay, no, nobody asked.
Yeah,
for that.
when they started
It's
playing
too much
Down
now.
Bad, I only know the song is called Down Bad because I watched the entire credits. And I couldn't hear. I knew the song was called Down Bad. Well, I knew there was a song called Down Bad. And that was the only line in the entire song that played that I could hear. Everything else, her voice was so high and she was talking so like, she was singing so fast, I couldn't understand a fucking thing she said. Like on everything, I couldn't understand a word she said. Like I felt like there were so many people, because I liked the beat they made. Like I liked the sample that they used from the original theme song. But I felt like they could have got almost anybody to do that song and it would have been better than that. Like, they could have got fucking Prozac, and it would have been better than that. No, you know, I shouldn't know Prozac by any means, but Prozac, Lynch, nigga, they could have got MC8 to do it, and it would have been better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I tried to like it. I did. I tried to like the song, but every time I started listening to the lyrics, I was like, oh, this is awful. Like, there's no energy to this whatsoever. None. Like, it's like Take say, like, niggas rap like they falling asleep.
Yeah, I don't understand why 21 who keeps getting 21 Savage to do these theme songs, because he's not good. Hearing him do the Mortal Kombat 11 thing was just an embarrassment, man. He had no idea what the hell he was talking about. He rapped like a nigga who played 2 back in the day, and then maybe played 3 a little bit, but that was about it.
He played Trilogy.
Like,
he didn't play 2. He just played Trilogy.
Golly, it is.
And maybe a little bit of Gold.
Maybe. It's bad. This one, he said he filled the verses, sure, with a lot of things that didn't matter.
Oh yeah, he was just talking.
It just wasn't good.
It wasn't necessary.
I understand, you know, this is, you know, today's Saw movie. But you ain't got a WWE.
It really
nigga.
wasn't. Hold up.
You ain't got a hip hop every dang thing. Not everybody's theme song has to have some hip hop music to it.
It's like, here's the deal. When Us came out, when Jordan Peele's Us came out, and they used I Got 5 on it, like, they didn't plan to use that song like that. They just had that song in the trailer. Like the Tethered remix. It was just supposed to be in the trailer, but people responded so well to it, they had it added to the movie. And then when they had Crazy Bone and them other 2 dudes, because I don't know who they are, rap over it, that shit was
Crazy
dope.
Annihilated that mug. Annihilated that mug.
Oh yeah, the
yes,
first,
sir.
like, I don't know what the other 2 dudes are, but the first and third verses on that song were fire. Like, I really love the third verse of that song. And, like, having, like, you know, one of the original members still singing the chorus, but still have the chorus switched up a little bit. Yeah, that was a really good song. Like, it was a really good song. I Got 5 on Us. Like, I don't know, just the chorus alone kind of gives you a premise of the movie. I got 5 on us. Let's go, let's leave the scene. I got 5 on us. Won't believe what I just seen. Like, let's run and don't look back. Yeah. Yeah. The idea is like, yeah, I literally got people chasing me. And that's what the fucking movie is. You got motherfuckers chasing you. Like, I'm gonna make it spin like a spiral. Like, I guess he's talking about like the chamber of a revolver. I can't really say. I didn't think it was whack, but it wasn't good. Like, he oh yeah, and it's a song on the soundtrack with him and Young Thug as well. I don't know what it is. I haven't heard it. I probably never will. Oh. Now, real quick, shout out to Christopher Ramsey, YouTube, Twitter. In the film, there's a scene where Chris Rock goes to a crack dealer. And he's referred to as crack guy, like in the credits. Christopher Ramsey. I remember him talking about being in the movie. But that was like 2019 or really late 2018. So long ago. And he was in the movie and he has a prominent role. He got it the worst of anybody who survived. But he broke his leg. And then Chris Rock poured that fucking gin on his leg. And then started banging the bone with the bottle. I hated that. I hated that so much. I was like, that shit's wrong. Yeah, he's on YouTube. Chris Ramsey. It sounds exactly spelled like it sounds. He's nothing on YouTube like he is in this movie. I mean, this movie is a fucking crack dealer. He's a magician, a really good one. I kind of hate him for it because his hands are way better than mine. And he likes solving really complicated puzzles. Puzzles as in like puzzle boxes. Like physical, like 3D objects that are supposed to open up or some shit. Yeah, that's how I found him. Magic. And I think he's Canadian. And yeah, that's all I got. I was like, a YouTuber I know was in a movie that I saw that I really wanted to see. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's all I got. But if you want some wholesome, like, magic tutorials and shit, he hung out with David Blaine at some point. And he said it was really weird, which is on par for people hanging out with David Blaine. That's it. That's the movie. It took about as long as the movie ran to talk about the movie in this video. It's been an hour and 21 minutes. 21. I'd watch it again. Honestly. I kind of want to go back and watch the Jigsaw again. Because that one's pretty fucking good. But if they do decide to do a second Spiral, like another movie like this, the only way they'll be able to do it is Zeke will have to get locked up. And then the dude will still have to be out there killing cops. Like, that'll be what it has to be. But, and I guess, like, Zeke will have to, like, try to break out of jail. Or, like, they'll finally, like, you know, when the murders start up again and he's locked up, they'll know it wasn't him or whatever. But outside of that, like, I don't see how you would, like, continue with that. Because the dude said his plan was not to continue killing cops. But his plan was to kill enough cops to course correct the way the police force works. The cops would, like, figure out that they are being watched and they will be judged for their actions. And that was it. Like, that's what his plan was. So he had, like, an end game. He expected to stop at some point. Oh, yeah. You bro, any final questions? Would you like some cocaine? Hello? You bro?
Talk about timing.
Huh?
You talk about timing. So I removed my earpiece and muted myself. And I would dip in every so often to see if y'all were still going.
Mm-hmm.
And I dipped in.
Do you have a question?
One time, right in time, for you to say that John was the killer.
I didn't say that. Oh, John's dead.
John's dead.
Okay, I wasn't
real
listening,
quick.
so...
Fuck anybody who says the Saw movies don't make sense because it seems like they keep bringing John back from the dead. No. At no point did they bring him back from the dead. That motherfucker died in the second movie. No, he died in the third movie. He died in the third movie. Every movie after that, yes, Tobin Bell is in it as John Kramer, but it's all either flashbacks or flashbacks. Like, in the timeline of the films, he dies in the third one. And I guess a lot of people don't realize that, like, all the movies kind of take place within, like, a couple of months of each other.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that in a video, like a while ago, like years ago. And it's pissed me off ever since then. Trying to say, like, yeah, he dies, but then, like, he comes back to life. Like, no the fuck he don't. You were not watching the movie. It's like, first and foremost, he was dying from cancer. Which is how he got into the business of murdering motherfuckers in the first place.
Right.
He was going to die no matter what happened. Donnie Wahlberg damn near whooped his ass. Damn near beat the shit out of that motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
He got it the worst. In my personal opinion, Donnie Wahlberg had the worst death in the entire franchise.
Excuse me. What makes you say that?
Just the idea of his head being crushed between the two giant blocks of ice.
Oh yeah.
That
Almost forgot about that.
That it's too much muchness.
It was. There was definitely some callbacks to the other Saw movies that were, you know, better than this one. Especially that, you know, because it played out the same as don't open that door.
Yeah.
And those two moments when somebody shouldn't open that door and they did, one was clearly a lot better than the other. Because can you imagine if Donnie Wahlberg's head getting crushed took as long as it did for that last scene to finally, you know, finish up as the new one? That it'd be like, all right, clearly we had forever to make sure this didn't happen. Like, cause golly, clearly we had enough time. No, when you open that door, everything went, seconds, bow, over and done with. Like,
the other part about like in the what was it 4, they kept telling him to not come in. And then he shot the dude who was like, you know, who was keeping an eye on everybody. And like Jigsaw told you straight up, you need to learn to let shit go. That's all this was. No, at no point did any of the police force or anybody investigating like the Jigsaw murders ever figure out that like John did not consider himself a murderer. I thought that made him crazy. John didn't consider himself a murderer. He considered himself a rehabilitator, a therapist. He took something. He gave people the opportunity to either start living or just die. Like, in his head, that's how it works. Now, that's clearly not how it works. Like, because having to cut your arm off to, like, survive, you still get to live without an arm. And most people will just get really depressed and then just, you know, completely waste the rest of their life because they're unhappy. But John wasn't thinking that far ahead. And that was the motive. You know what I'm saying? That was his motive. He tried to kill himself. He changed his mind at the last minute. It almost didn't work out for him. And like he was invigorated and he wanted to share this experience with other people. Now here's the thing that the movies slowly show you. That was all bullshit. John explicitly targeted everybody who was responsible either for his misdiagnosis, him not getting his treatments, or Jill losing the baby. Every single person in all the movies are tied to those 3 events. And he was not doing this to save anybody's life, especially the ones where he put somebody else in charge of like another person's life. Like the one I think in like 5, where the dude had to pick which of the 2 people died. Somebody was gonna fucking die. It was either the older lady, or it was the younger dude. And then like in that same movie, he tied all those interns or whatever to like he killed Eddie Winslow. Lord have mercy, he killed Eddie Winslow. Like, yeah, nigga, you were just killing people at this point. Like none of this, there's no point to it. You're just murdering people. Oh man. Okay, now we can stop the video. Play me some more Infamous. Anybody want a drink?